Hello everyone, today we're going to make a reaction to Geography Now San Marino. Read the link in the description, I'll start the video. And San Marino is a small country inside of Italy. And it's actually also speaks Italian.
Imagine you're a dude running away from someone trying to kill you. You escape pirates. You start a new life on the beach. Then, just when
well,
life is going great, some crazy lady
well, there's no
you met
Vatican City though.
You just left without paying no damn child support. So you run away to the mountains. You build a fortress. Then a bunch of other runaways in a similar situation to yours join you, and you become a community. In a very butchered, condensed format, that's basically how this place became a country. Welcome to the world's best hiding spot, keeping it down low, San Marino.
San Marino. This is the last geography episode as of July.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Okay. Welcome to the fifth smallest country in the world, the oldest sovereign country in the world, with the oldest constitution and the smallest
Greece and Egypt are way old.
Yeah, you guys have less land area, but you also have over.
Egypt is way older than Egypt.
Wow.
Well, Egypt is way older than San Marino.
This video was shot during the COVID-19 pandemic times, so in compliance with social distancing practices, this video was shot in my office. Caleb and Jillian live here, so obviously they are quarantining with me. They can be in these videos. Art is one of my closest neighbors. He is within walking distance, so he'll be a regular. Also, we are limiting our guest host to one a week, and this week, it will be Hannah. How you doing, Hannah? What is that you are holding on to? And
this week on Geography Now, we have merch.
And where can you get all this at, Hannah?
Geography Now. I'm going to leave the shirt on. I think it's good. Should we match the whole time?
If you want, sure, yeah.
Listen, guys, we take huge precautions with face masks, we have hand sanitizer, and we film all these segments in different time slots, so we are avoiding crowds.
Speaking of which, Hannah, you need some hand sanitizer. There you go.
This is how Paul pays me. I'm probably going to steal some toilet paper on my way out.
Anyway,
okay, let's begin with these.
One guy, St. Marinus, or San Marino, and it grew into the small, hard-to-find microstate that it is today. Let's find it on the globe now, shall we?
Okay, the capital is the same name as the country.
Called the Most Serene Republic, is kind of like a miracle country. It was made from a bunch of people trying to escape persecution, and they've survived almost 2 millennia of dodging almost every major battle and war because the aggressors were like,
"Aw, you're so adorable and non-threatening. You know what? Go ahead. I don't need to attack. Stay independent."
In any case, they've held it together and kept their sovereignty locked down in the hills. And here's where they are. First of all, the country is completely landlocked within the country of Italy, straddling the borders of the Emilia-Romagna and Marche regions of Italy. At only 24 square miles or 61 square kilometers,
this could be the fun mail.
Country in Europe after the Vatican and Monaco, and have no former border control with Italy. The country is divided into Vatican,
but there's no Vatican City episode.
Castles, and the small capital with only about 4,000 people, named like the country San Marino, is located in the San Marino municipality. The capital sits on the western slope of the highest point of the country, with incredibly narrow hairpin turn roadways and a ridge trail that goes to the other two famous towers of San Marino. If you want to get there without driving, a good alternative would be taking the aerial cableway that starts in Borgo Maggiore at the bottom and goes up 166 meters to the top. As a landlocked nation, of course, they have no seaports. They do have one incredibly small private airstrip in Torraccia, but for people wanting to take commercial flights, everything must be done through Rimini's Federico Fellini International, about 15 kilometers away on the coast in Rimini, Italy. This airport works with San Marino and does actually have a granted customs for San Marino that visitors can use and report to. From there, the only way in is by road on one of the many entrances from all sides of the surrounding Italian border. The busiest one being the Italian SS-72 highway into Dogana. Keep in mind, the country actually used to be even smaller, but in 1320, the community of Chiesa Nuova joined, and in 1463, 4 other communities joined: Faetano, Fiorentino, Montegiardino, and Serravalle. Since then, the border has not changed, and they've stayed the same size from then on. Small country, but it's got everything. So by now, you're probably wondering,
it's bigger than Vatican City.
How on earth did they avoid not getting absorbed by Italy?
Well, for one, as the story goes, St. Marinus, or San Marino, was a simple Christian stonemason from the island of Rab in the Dalmatian coast. Back in those days, the Roman emperors were actively killing Christians, and Diocletian had a target on Dalmatia. San Marino ran to Rimini, started a whole new life on the beach. Then some crazy lady, or ladies, depending on which version of the story you heard, claimed he was their estranged husband that left them. Annoyed by this, he ran to the mountains and built a monastery as a hermit. From there, other persecuted Christians heard of this mountain safe haven, and they began to congregate there and built a fort. Originally, all this land belonged to Lady Felicita, a Roman noblewoman. One day, her son got sick, and Saint Marinus supposedly had the gift of healing people and healed her son. In gratitude, she gave the mountain to him and his community. So, according to the story, that's basically how the country started. Before he died, though, Saint Marinus' last words to his people were, I leave you free from both men.
Wait, what?
Most people assume he was referencing the Pope and the Emperor. This was kind of like the inspirational driving force that led the people of San Marino to maintain their sovereignty. Eventually, they wrote their constitution, the oldest one on earth, the Leges Statutae Republicae Sancti Marini, which is actually 6 books written in Latin in the 16th century. Yeah, San Marino. It's not just a community of farmers in the random hills. It's a community driven by the inspiration of a saint that encouraged them to hold on to the reins of their own domain. And it worked. Anyway, if you decide to visit San Marino, some of the top places to check out the Basilica of San Marino,
I wasn't.
the Liberty Square
Okay,
and
this is
statue,
interesting.
Castello di San Marino,
Sadly, I
collect
wasn't
points
born
or
there.
stamps on your passport. Go to the tourism office, the Crossbow Quarry Cavern, Monte Cerreto Park and Adventure Park, the Museum of Vampires and Werewolves, Old Serravalle Castle, the Passage of Witches, the Museum of Weapons in Cesta, the Torture Museum, the Museum of Curiosities, the Ancient Arms Museum, the San Francis Museum, the State Museum, and the most notable site of the country, the Torre Guaita, and her 2 sisters, Tower Cesta and the smallest Montale, which Montale is not open to the public. And everywhere you go in the country, you see statues and tributes to San Marino himself. See how many you can find. So yeah, as you can see, San Marino is a myriad of quirky and traditional sites. No idea why they have a vampire museum, but it works. Let them have their fun. In any case, within those 23 square miles, 61 square kilometers, they still have quite a few natural sites. Which brings us to
demographics.
Now, we've done microstates on this channel before, and when you have a very limited amount of space, you're probably going to have to find ways to make money that don't require
We have
massive
Monaco.
fields. San Marino has their own way of playing the game. First of all, the country is entirely mountainous, located in the Apennine mountain chain that creates the spine of the Italian peninsula extending all the way north to south. This mountain chain is essentially part of the smaller thrust fault lines that push from the Adriatic lithosphere or microplate, which explains why sometimes minor tremors and earthquakes might occur, but nothing too serious. As mentioned, in the center, where the capital lies, is the limestone mass and highest point of the country, Mount Titano, at about 740 meters high. From these hills flow many small creeks and rivers, like the Ausa, Marano, and Fiumicello rivers, and bisecting the country in the southwest side is the appropriately named San Marino River. The country does not have any major natural inland bodies of water. The closest thing would probably be Lago de Faetano, a small artificial body of water used for sport fishing near the border of the Faetano area. Otherwise, as you can see in the valleys, farms and ranches dominate the remainder of the landscape. Fun fact, because of Mount Titano, sometimes San Marino is also called the Titanic Republic. San Marino is a country that knows how to handle things. They have no external debt, they actually have a budget surplus, and they get somewhere around 3.2 million tourists a year, about 100 times their entire population. And despite agriculture not being a real principal industry, with their limited area, about 3/4 of their land is given to permanent agriculture, and about 17% of their land is arable. And with that, it is now time for my triple shot of espresso break. Usually Noah comes in, but Noah obviously can't be here because we can only have one guest host, Hannah. So that means Art is going to have to fill in for today. Yeah. Hey guys. Now for San Marino, the real money comes from 3 main sources. Banking and finance, the largest company in the country, is Agricola, as well as business and tourism. About half the economy in itself is based on tourism, making about 1/4 of the GDP. And sales tax is actually half of what it is in Italy. This is why so many people love coming here for shopping, especially stamp and coin enthusiasts for the rare collectible San Marino lira, discontinued after switching to the euro, even though they're not even part of the EU. In addition, if you go to the outskirts along the country's borders, you'll often see massive warehouses or factories owned by outside companies. This is because San Marino only taxes corporate profit at 19%, 5% capital gains, and 13% withholding tax interest. Contrast that with Italy's 24%, which is higher than the EU's average around 22%. I like this guy. In addition, San Marino is known to have some quirky items that are actually otherwise illegal to buy outside the country, like guns and weaponry, like swords and crossbows, things that can kill you. Why am I thinking about murder? Because we just talked about weapons that could murder you. Oh, that's right. San Marino actually has the highest rate of car ownership in the world, and it is the only country with more cars than people. Are they rich over there? It was like Monaco. Remember we did the Monaco country? Yeah. Not as rich as Monaco, though. Otherwise, within the limited hills and cliffs, you can still find some pretty cool wildlife.
About those weapons, Still Newgrounds flashbacks. No, I don't want to talk about that.
I need a hat.
Alright
I
then.
got this thing from Morocco.
San Marino's a tiny nation, but by no means devoid of nature. I shouldn't be doing this accent.
That's terrible, Hannah.
For one, you'll find animals that are common throughout Italy and southern Europe. Their abundance of grasslands, rivers, and creeks give a home to mammals like cross foxes, hedgehogs, horseshoe bats, otters,
I used to
and
have a
police
pet
weasel,
hedgehog.
known as the smallest carnivore on the planet. Don't let the little guy's red coat with white belly and small, cute, stubby snout fool you. When it's time for mating season, they have some of the most violent courtships documented in the mammal world. In addition, about 96 species of birds can be found migrating and nesting, everything from swans, European honey buzzards, peregrine falcons, barn owls, and spotted woodpeckers. And that's all for Gary Harlow.
Thank you, Hannah Harlow, or whatever your name is for this segment. I honestly don't care. And now we finish off this segment as we always do with what? With the food, baby.
That's not food.
You like food, Art? Yeah, I do. I love food. Now, as you might suspect, San Marino's cuisine is very similar to that of Italy's. Of course, you will find pasta and pizza around every corner, but they do have their own specialties as well. Capelletti,
Pizza are common in Italy.
San Marino style lasagna.
They existed in Nepal.
And these cakes are sold everywhere, but they're just kind of like a
not
Nepal,
Nepal's, which is sovereign Italy.
Piadina. That looks pretty good. It looks like an Italian taco. Yes, even a small country can have their own charm and flair, like the people and their culture, which brings us to...
Let's learn about demographics now.
Thank you for filling in our...
We learn about physics and demographics. Right, this was made 6 years ago. I know.
By the way, the people here are called Sammarinese.
Sammarinese.
Not San Marinese.
Sammarinese, but I'm not San Marino.
Throughout history, the Sammarinese have had a saying.
I am Bulgarian, so I apologize if I lie about Sweden.
The Sammarinese are kind of like proud of their distinct identity, rooted in unfamiliarity. In any case, this is how you break down the population. The country is made up of about 34,000 people and is the fifth smallest country in population on Earth. The country is predominantly Sammarinese at about 86%, whereas the remaining population at about 4,800 inhabitants, or about 14% of the country, are foreign-born, mostly from Italy and Romania, as well as other parts of Europe. Keep in mind, there are about 12,000 Sammarinese nationals in diaspora, mostly in Italy, France, and the USA. They use the euro as their currency, they use the types C, F, and L plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Now, when it comes to identity, although yes, the national language of San Marino is Italian, and many Sammarinese people have Italian ancestry. Regardless, do not call these people Italians. They are very proud of their Sammarinese heritage. I mean, when you're part of an
Austrians or Austrians but speak German.
At Disneyland, you're kind of special. By the way, as a Californian, I gotta say, Disneyland is so overrated. Don't even bother with that place. Six Flags, way better. Anyway,
okay, let's learn about it.
With a lot of unique traditions and
I mean, there was Nara Dreamland in Japan. There was also Spray Park in Germany.
Church. I mean, shocker, they were founded by a saint. However, there is no Episcopal see in San Marino. They actually fall under the Diocese of Montefeltro in Italy. If you don't know what that is, basically the Catholic Church kind of like organizes their churches.
Well, I was born in Orthodox,
it's
so...
confusing. Even I don't get it. And I actually have an uncle who's a Franciscan friar under the Capuchin order. Anyway, San Marino is also noted for their unique government system. They are one of only 3 diarchies in the world, as in countries that have 2 official heads of state, and they've been doing it since 1243. These heads of state are known as captain regents. They are chosen by council members that are voted in every 5 years. The captain regents must be at least 25 years old, and their terms last only 6 months, which makes it the shortest head of state term limit on Earth. They are allowed to have unlimited terms afterwards, but they have to wait 3 years until they can be reelected. And this also means San Marino has had the highest number of female heads of state out of any country in the world. Anyway, what makes San Marino distinct culturally? Well,
it's an interesting country.
With culture stuff.
Alright guys, it is good to be back. San Marino is a country that definitely honors its traditional medieval side. In July, during the Revocation Festival, you can see the flag throwing performances everywhere.
In July.
A new set of captain regents are voted in either April
I'm
or
recording
October,
this in July, so it will be posted
the largest
today.
national festival would probably be on September 3rd, the National Feast of San Marino. Sammarinese people are also known
I don't
for
have
hence
also...
why they have so many weapon shops. Their specialty? The crossbow. They even have a
unfortunately,
crossbow corps of about 80 members
sadly,
that
I
train
don't
and dress up
have.
in medieval
Sadly, I
clothing
wasn't
and
born in
perform
September.
regularly at festivals year round. For
I'm not
sports,
Italian,
this is where things get
so.
a little interesting. In Europe, whenever San Marino plays football or soccer, it's kind of like, yes, yeah, but not for the reasons you'd think.
I am so gonna win money by betting against them.
See, their national soccer/football team debuted in 1990, and since then has only won one game against Liechtenstein in 2004. This makes them officially the worst team not only in Europe but in the whole world. Their starting lineups often have few actual professional players, and they even had an accountant as their goalie once. However, what they lack in footwork, they make up in arm work. Their baseball team is much better. They've been champions in Italy 4 times, won 2 Italian Cups, and 3 European Championship leagues. In addition, they have a strong passion for motorcycle racing and often perform very well at Grand Prix
Alright
events,
then.
mostly practicing at the Rimini Coast racetrack. And finally,
Alright then.
Sammarinese people are lovers of
Alright
classical
then.
art and music. Me too. For classic music, these two composers are highly regarded figures. You know what I just realized? This is kind of the music segment. I just took over Keith's segment. I think I won the feud. Keith, haha.
I guess that's it for you now, Hannah. Social distancing push. I got the mic. All right, and with that, it's time for the history segment. We already kind of explained the origins of this country, so let's just kind of skip forward to the 15th century. 1463, the country gains its last new territories, which are the current borders. 1503 was taken over by this guy for about 6 months. 1543, this dude tried to take over but got lost in fog. Occupied again in 1739 by the papal governor of Ravenna. Napoleonic years. Napoleon actually kind of liked San Marino and offered to extend their territory, but they declined. During the Union years, Garibaldi and his wife took refuge in San Marino. He promised they could stay independent after Italy became united. World War I, World War II, they tried to stay as neutral as possible, but still got bombed. They actually became communists for a few years. They joined the UN, OECD, and the Council of Europe. Tourism and sales of cheesy souvenirs skyrocket, and here we are today. Some of the most notable and famous people of this country that you guys suggested I mention include composer, playwright, and bishop Francesco Maria Marini, 60s and 70s icon pop star Little Tony, Olympian Alessandra Parelli, 4-time Eurovision singer Valentina Monetta, Captain Regent Assunta Tina Maloney, these soccer players Marco Machina, Simone Pacini, and Davide Simoncini.
Well, I would have been
Grand Prix
a
motorcyclists,
YouTuber there
Manuel
from San
Poggiai,
Marino,
and
but
Alex de
unfortunately I
Angelis.
am
So
not.
there you go. Not bad for a country that has fewer people than Bob Saget has had family members on his TV career. And speaking of family, that brings us to
Friend Zone, and the episode will be over.
now, as we kind of already explained, much of San Marino's very existence depended greatly on their ability to avoid and get away from conflict. They've always had to kind of talk their way out of trouble. I like what Sammarinese geography Diego says. He says, I think this is maybe the most beautiful thing about us, the victory of words over arms. That's cool, I like that. But that doesn't mean San Marino is a total hermit. They definitely roll with their crew. For one, they have 3 embassies, including the Military Order of Malta, which is not actually a real country, but it kind of is, but that's a whole other story, and 8 honorary consulates within their country, and over 85 non-resident embassies and consulates abroad. In addition, they actually have a very interesting connection to all the other microstates of Europe, like Andorra, Liechtenstein, Monaco, and Malta. All these countries take part in the Games of Smaller States of Europe, which also include larger small states like Luxembourg, Cyprus, Montenegro, and Iceland. Even the Vatican is invited and said to possibly take part for the first time in 2021. Generally, other Catholic nations like to nod their heads at San Marino in respect when they see the pride and perseverance of a tenacious little guy that outlasted all of them. Croatia especially is a soft spot since the founder of San Marino was from Rob Island off their Dalmatian coast, which interestingly enough, people from Poland and Russia are very frequent visitors, so much to the point where many shopkeepers in San Marino are actually able to communicate in these languages, which pleases the customers. Even more interesting, Iran has close ties to San Marino, business-wise at least, as Iran-based airlines that head to Europe often stop over in Rimini Airport under the San Marino Authority side because San Marino is one of the only few European countries that has a refueling agreement with Iran. When it comes to their best friends, however, it's really no shocker. Italy usually ranks number 1. Italians, especially from the Romagna region, and the Sammarinese are essentially one family. They are culturally similar. They share many of the same values.
In a country,
People often
humans
commute
there
to
are
each other's
brothers,
countries for work
along
and
with
school
Vatican City,
intermarriages are
encouraging
very
humans
common,
logic.
and overall, they get each other the best. In conclusion, San Marino kind of started out as a country from a dude that wanted to escape constant trouble. Little did he know that 1,700 years later, millions of people would be visiting every year, lining up to check out wacky vampire museums and buying guns and crossbows from the money they made from betting against their soccer football team. Oh, San Marino, keeping a low profile in the coolest way possible. Stay tuned, Sao Tome and
Goodbye.
Principe.